Well, hi, folks. I'm on the air. Oh, okay. Uh, my name's Jerry, and of course, this is not the show. This is what we call the pre-show, so that we can be sure as we possibly can that everything is working the way it's supposed to. And so we've got about 10, well, 18 more minutes, whatever it is. But we're going to be talking about this book on the show. It's called Feed the Wind Part 2. I find stuff like this so interesting. We'll be talking a little bit about the book during the show, but how about this? Um, in this particular section is called Homegrown Vegetables for Your Pigeons. A lot of stuff that's going around the house that the pigeons would love if you shared it with them. Here, the pigeons are given lettuce, endives, and spinach only once a week because these leafy vegetables contain nitrates, and the book goes on about that. Um, Spinach. You can give your birds to spinach, but don't give it to them in the wintertime. We can expand on that, but I just find it so interesting. How about this one? How often we use cabbage, onions, chicory, and carrots for feed doesn't matter. You can give it to them all the time because the vegetables contain hardly any nitrate. Buying vegetables for pigeon implies that a lot of vitamins and minerals are wasted. So basically, what they're saying is you should not necessarily buy them for your pigeons, but if you are a vegetable eater or whatever it is, when you're done, you got some left over. Hopefully, there's no dressing on it, but give it to your birds. I know in the summertime, I'm always throwing a handful of green grass in there, and they attack it. So winter long, if you're eating vegetable salad, give it to your birds. Let's see. But anyways, in reading this, I just find it so interesting. Um, and as I said, this isn't a planned show, so if you don't mind me reading as we go, this book is called Feed the Wind. It's just got so much information. Um, Onions, and I'm not going to go into detail. Onions. He specifically says, the gentleman who writes this book, no, I guess it really doesn't matter. You see how plant this is. Onions are invaluable. What they're saying is they're very, very, very important. Um, Kale, garlic, we've talked about it before. Barley, he speaks very, very, not barley, parsley, he speaks very, very highly of. Beetroot fortifies the immune system. This is all stuff that you may not have thought of. But in giving these kind of things, you're doing some things that are important. You're going more natural because if these vegetables and so forth do what they're supposed to do, doesn't it make sense to use them? And you may not have to. Well, wait a minute. If I talk you into that, you won't be buying my vitamins and supplements. Maybe I ought to throw this book away. No, I can't do that. Anyway, um, how about this? The use of plants and herbs. We've all heard of ginkgo biloba. Have you ever heard of that, Veronica? What's it for? Memory, absolutely. So ginkgo biloba is used with pigeons. Ginseng. We've all heard of ginseng. It improves memory also. Might be a good item to consider for racing pigeons. You don't want a pigeon to forget its way home, so you're going to improve its memory. Did you know? Well, I won't go to that. But anyways, I don't want to go into everything here, but it's a great book. It also breaks down feeds. What's buckwheat used for? Beans, peas, barley, millet. Why are you adding that to your pigeon's diet? Rice, maize, peanuts, ground nuts, safflower, wheat and wheat germ, vetches, canary seed, sunflower seed, things like that. Maybe you never wondered why they're in your pigeon mix, or maybe they should be, and they're not. It's something you may want to look into. So it's a lot of great information. We'll certainly talk about this book, not in a lot of detail when we go to the show, which starts in about 14 or 15 minutes. The very first chapter in this book, to me, it's what a way to start a book. If you write a book about pigeons, one of the things that are always the most important thing, and one of the things that the readers look for, is not how to cure disease, but how to avoid disease. That's the beginning. It's not medications that should be the beginning. You should do everything you can to prevent disease. So the first chapter is avoiding disease. Trying to pick something out that might be of interest. So eat healthy, eat a pigeon. Excuse me, I've got a cold. I picked that run right out of there. Eat healthy, eat a pigeon. It says, read this. Eat healthy, eat a pigeon is no longer a truthful slogan. For savoring a captured bird can be risky, especially if it comes from a stock where the young can't be reared without the aid of medications. Then again, it might even be a greater risk to eat any piece of meat, since we are in a firm grasp of hormones, antibiotics, prohibitive antiseptics, and so forth that are used in the slaughterhouse. So I guess what he's saying in talking about eating pigeons, if you're going to eat pigeons, I would think he's telling you to eat your own, and you have so much control. You know how much you've given these birds antibiotics or things that maybe would be still in their system. So he talks about it. He talks about using your vet and the questions to ask. We're going to be talking about books too in the next segment, the full segment. But there's a lot of great information. Feed to Win, and we'll talk more about it. Now, in talking about the show itself, or not the show itself, but the season itself, it's February. If you're lucky enough to be in a warm climate, that's great. But most of us in the northern part of the country, whether it be from Georgia up or into the colder climate. So we're planning on, or a lot of people are already breeding. I talked with some racing homer people the other day, and he's already banding young ones. I wish I was that far along. I'm not. I put my birds together pretty much beginning, right around the end of November, first week in December. So what do you do this time of the year? Let's assume you're not breeding. What are you going to do? Well, number one, basic, is you've got to clean your loft. Most of you know I use the floor covering, which has become a big seller here. And floor covering comes from Belgium. It's the only place that makes it specifically for pigeons. It's a granulated clay, and in it is a product to help prevent coccidiosis, which is very common, and coccidiosis is promoted in damp areas when it's damp on the floor. So it has an anti-coccidiosis product in it, because we all know that our floors do get wet occasionally from bath pans, from spilling water, ourselves when we're filling the drinkers or whatever. So it helps, the floor covering helps prevent that because it's very absorbent. Well, this time of the year, I have a young man, you'll eventually meet Dan, but Dan works for me, and he's been going out almost every Saturday over the last month taking care of my lofts. Well, we start tomorrow, Saturday, by stripping our loft right down to bare wood and so forth. Every perch is scraped clean. The floor, and I apologize, I thought I could walk through this, speak through this, I'm not sure where I can, but all of the floor covering is, we bring a shovel in and some boxes, everything that's on the floor is taken up off the floor and disposed of. Actually, it's thrown in the garden, it's no big deal. But I scrape everything. And then when you pick it all up off the floor, like wood floors, there's going to be some spots where it was damp, and some of it stuck. So we scraped the floor. All of my nest boxes were cleaned last year before I put them away, so that's not a problem. But if you haven't done it, you have to scrape everything in that loft, including your nest boxes, your nest bowls, if you've used them and didn't clean them before you put away. I'm talking about the plastic ones or the clay ones, or whichever ones you're using, other than the paper ones. What I do is I would put some warm, I have a 55-gallon bucket, put some water in there, a 55-gallon barrel, not a bucket, but a 55-gallon barrel, and I put some water in, maybe about that deep, and I put some disinfectant in it. Bleach is a good one, and I just let them set overnight. I can't do all of them at the same time, but I let a bunch set overnight. Then I take them out and clean whatever residue is left, and then let them dry, and they're ready for the next year. In your particular case, if you haven't done it, then now is the time to do it. So then while you're at it, the floor is clear, the purses are clean, the nest boxes are clean. What I do is you probably have the same situation. Sometimes the birds on their perches poop on the wall, so to speak. So we're scraping all of that down with one of our scrapers, my favorite being the triangle scraper. But we do that, and then we're going to mix up some permethrin 2. It's in our catalog. If you don't want to do that, you can use bleach or some sort of a disinfectant, and you're going to spray everything that you can possibly spray. Spray the cracks and the crevices, the perches, the floor, the nest boxes, inside, outside. And then you're going to let the loft set overnight so all that disinfectant can dry up, and then the next day you're ready to go. I remove all of my nest boxes so I can get in behind all of those nest boxes on the wall, on the floor. So I'm going to disinfect all of that. And you may or may not have the opportunity to move birds from section to section. Maybe you only have one section, but what you can do is put your birds in, take them all out and put them in baskets if you have them, put them in cardboard boxes if you have them. Just get them out of there overnight. Now they won't have any water, they won't have any feed overnight, but it doesn't affect the pigeons as long as they're not so crowded. You want them to have a little bit of room. It's much like I ship pigeons every Tuesday, and on Tuesday when I ship them, I know under perfect circumstances they're going to be there tomorrow, but not necessarily so. Could be 2 days, and in some cases 3 days. Doesn't hurt the pigeons at all unless they're sick when you ship them, and you shouldn't be shipping sick birds. So a bird can go without feed or water for 2 or 3 days without any harm whatsoever. And that's what you want to do. Now, when it's all dry, the next morning you're going to put your nest boxes back in. And if you use floor covering, you're going to put something on the floor. And well, that's pretty much it. Also, in talking about when you're breeding, reminded me of a call I got a while back. A gentleman was telling me, he said, Jerry, I've had my birds together now for over 2 weeks, and they're not doing anything. At least not that I can see. The hen's not driving, the cock's not the hen's not being driven by the cock. They're not doing anything. Have you any suggestions? And I said, well, try this. First of all, I said, what do you have on your floor and what do you have in the nest bowl? He says, on the floor, I forget what he told me. But I said, well, do this. I says, grab a handful of straw and throw most of it, half of it, on the floor. And then, with some of your straw, which is what he was using, I said, just make a circle so it'll fit in the nest bowl and put it in the nest bowl and see what happens. Because the birds weren't laying, weren't doing anything. He called me 2 days later. He says, I can't believe it. I did what you told me to do, And the birds now are picking up the straw that's on the floor, bringing it to the nest bowl. They're cooing the cock and the hen. The cock's driving the hen all over the place. And what putting the straw in did was just gave them, it's hard to explain, but it brought to mind, in their mind, well, it must be breeding season because there's straw in the nest, a little bit of straw on the floor, and it got his birds going, and he was so pleased. So sometimes it isn't just medication or vitamins or supplements. Sometimes you've got to, I suppose, think like a pigeon, because the pigeon's there, he wants to breed, but there's no nesting material, so he did nothing. Now there's some nesting material, and they're ready to mate. So we talked about cleaning everything, the floor coverings and so forth. Might be a good time to think about using the 3-in-1 product. 3-in-1 product is not a medicine, it's a anti-protozoa, so it's good for canker, coccidiosis, and worms. Don't use 4-in-1, use 3-in-1. And in using the 3-in-1, it treats for canker, coccidiosis, and worms, the 3 most common diseases in pigeons, and it's not an antibiotic, so you don't have to worry about over-medicating. And if you haven't, you should have, if you plan on putting your birds together right away or start mating process right away, you should have vaccinated. And in talking about vaccinations, I get questioned fairly frequently, which is more important, PMV or paratyphoid? Well, just a very few years ago, one was made of water-based, one was oil-based, and you couldn't mix them together, and most people did it at different times. Well, now both products are water-based. You can actually do them at the same time. But so is it just which one is more important? It's a matter of opinion. I think paratyphoid is the most important. If you can only do one because it's not inexpensive. Paratyphoid is for bacterial infections, and you're not treating, you're preventing. But it's so common. It's also called salmonella. Never, ever does a day go by in our store where we don't get an order. I'm sorry, but Gina's over there giggling and laughing and doing a little bit of dancing. And I want to know, she went and put her makeup on. So I'm going to tell stories on you and combed her hair and everything. But salmonella is the most common of all diseases in pigeons. Never a day goes by where we don't ship out some paratyphoid medicine. There is no medicine for PMV, of course. So if you have to choose between the two, do the paratyphoid first. Well, that's sort of the end of my show. It is called a pre-show, and now I'm going to introduce my PIA daughter, and here she is. How about a round of applause? Here's Gina. Look at that. PIA. 2:59. I did it almost.
And I was on time. Give me a minute, not second minute.
Okay.
Hi guys. As you know, I'm Gina, and this is Jerry with Foys. A happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Speaking of Valentine's, you and I got a Valentine gift in the mail yesterday.
Yes, we did. And you already know what yours is.
I opened mine. A mug with my favorite candy. Reese's peanut butter cups, which they're all gone already. But
and
anyways,
it says, whatever it is.
Some days you're the pigeon, some days you're the statue. So I'm gonna cut this for you. I don't want you to cut yourself.
They're always trying to take care of me. Well, I got a gift. Kind of a surprise. You think it's flowers?
No, not flowers.
It is from Fred and Vicky. Watch your wasses get wet scratch.
No, he's going to mess your name
I'm
up.
sorry. Okay.
Can you open your gift?
How would you put on it anyways? I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter.
All right. Oh, I've got a cup. And it's heavier than yours was. It says,
because I ate all my candy.
I'm the crazy pigeon man your mama warned you about.
Yes, he is.
Then we're going to open it up. Oh, my. I have to share them.
Yes, you do.
Peanut butter.
Reese peanut butter cups.
Reese's, I'm gonna have, while we're doing the show, I'm gonna sneak a couple in.
Vicki, that's my favorite candy. I don't know if you knew that or not. I don't know if I told you, but that's my favorite.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Vicki. Very nice of you. I know we spoke
Fred and
many
Vicki,
times over
thank
the
you.
years. And I keep throwing things at Veronica over there. But thank you, just for thinking about us. It's very nice, very nice.
Thank you, Fred and Vicki. We
I
appreciate
was
it.
talking to, and I know we're just bullshitting here, excuse my English. I was asking Veronica, how many people watched last week's show?
Uh-huh.
And it was over 10,000 people. 10,000 people took the time to log in, I guess is the word. So we really do appreciate it. When we started out, it was the unimaginable number of 100,000. But Facebook changed its methodology, and it's not as easy.
did.
Whatever it is, I don't know. I don't
That's-
understand the
you're
terminology. But whenever anything's new, whether it's a new show on TV, they get the high rating and then it levels off. And that's what's happened with us. But just think, 10,000 people or more watching. Did I interrupt?
No.
Well, you're
You
doing
never
your thing. I'm gonna
interrupt
eat my
me.
chocolate from John and Vicki.
Fred and Vicki. Not John. I don't know where you keep getting John.
Thank you.
Anyways, so today's show we're gonna talk about different tips. Some things from our tip book. A lot of questions that customers ask us that we write down and keep for other people, so we can let you guys know and help you, and it helps us.
How can I help us? Maybe a question or two. Can you explain that, or should I interrupt you?
You shouldn't
I've
interrupt
already
me yet.
interrupted.
Save your voice because you're going to be talking during the show.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if y'all know, but Jerry's been under the weather. He's finally getting his voice back and feeling much better. So we're going to talk about different tips, things that, what did you call them? False?
Tips, facts, and the word was
Falsehoods.
falsehoods. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. So, but before we do that, I'm going to announce the winners of the auction. As you know, we had Afghan Shirazis, we had Tipplers, and Horseman Powders on the auction. All three sold today. So for the Afghan Shirazis, it was Patrick Moranley. I'm probably saying it wrong. Tipplers, Ronnie Pullen, and Horseman Powders, Carletta Bell. So if you can call me about 4:15, pay for the pigeons, and then we'll get them out next Tuesday.
But in talking about those birds, what was the first one? Shirazis, I think it's called.
Afghan Shirazi.
Yeah, and those birds are directly out of Afghanistan. A very, very rare pigeon in the United States. And when we got them contributed, do you remember who contributed them?
Yusuf.
Yusuf mentioned that there was one bird in this show. I think it was in Lancaster. Was it in Lancaster?
Yes.
Yeah, in Lancaster, 1,500, 2,000 birds. There was only one of that breed in the whole show. And there's a club called Rare Pigeons, Rare Pigeon Club. So it's something I'm sure if you, the lady that bought those birds, she ought to join that Rare Breed Club. They'll be calling you wanting to know where you got them. I sure would like some pretty pigeons.
And the Afghan Shirazis, it was a man that bought them, by the way. Anyways, they have jewelry on their legs.
Oh, yeah. They don't band their birds like we do. Go ahead. I forget how it's done, but one.
The cock, I think it is, has the jewelry. I forget. I have it written down. It's at my desk.
It rings a bell, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah. And the one guy out there, he kept saying, I kept hearing this sound and I didn't know what it was. And he didn't realize it was the pigeons had jewelry on their legs. So, yeah.
Okay. So we're just so fortunate people sending us birds in the future. I just got a pair of golden Gabriels in. We had them one other time. Bob Cunningham sent them to me through Bill Cunningham through Link Martin, and I got them this week. So they're going to be on future auctions.
Yeah. So once again, the auctions, we have them every 2 weeks. If you do bid, please intend on purchasing the birds because we do this not for any profit for Foys, but for the MPA Legacy Fund. It is a lot of work. And if we have somebody that we're trying to contact who placed the bid, and it takes a lot of time out of our busy schedule.
We're not complaining, but we sometimes get frustrated because people,
Yeah.
and we talked about it before,
Mhm.
they send in their bid, however, and then we never hear from them again.
Right.
It's just, I suppose, part of the way it is.
Yeah. So, but we do appreciate everybody who does bid, who does buy birds, and who donates the birds as well. So
We had a contest, are we going to talk about that?
I was just gonna mention that.
Well, you did
But-
forget to. Remember, I tried to set this whole thing up and you
Hold
forgot.
up, because you always interrupt me.
Oh,
But I wanted to ask a question before I mentioned the contest.
Finally!
Where's your
I don't
voice?
want the people to think we set this up. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What's up with this? Where's your voice shirt?
Well, I wore this for a reason.
Okay.
Well, we're stars. You have to admit, we're stars of the Foys on Facebook show. Would you not admit that since we're the only, well, there's three of us that do this, Veronica is in the background, but you and I are the true stars.
I guess.
Being fairly old, I remember way back to black and white movies, and we used to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the actors, back then they called them actors. If it said actor, it was a guy. If it said actress, it was a girl. Now they're all actors. But back then, the actors always dressed debonair. Now, I didn't have the right kind of hat because it was that felt hat, you know.
Uh-huh.
I took my hat off, but I said, you know, being a star, I ought to dress up a little bit better. So this is my vest that comes from, what's the name of the company in Maine?
LL Bean.
LL Bean. So I got this from LL Bean. But also I remember all of the actors back then wore tuxedos, but I don't own a tuxedo. But then I remember they all wore white silk scarf.
Scarf.
Yeah, scarf. Well, I looked through my closet and I couldn't find one. I didn't have a white one. So I'll take off my jacket from LL Bean, which I hope impressed you. And I hope you'll deal with LL Bean because I'm from Maine. But look at this. Huh? Got my own, look at this.
Look at that, Manny. He got his suspenders on.
Look at this. I learned you do this, and you do this, and you do this. Now tell me, am I not the cat's meow?
Definitely with them suspenders.
And then back then, they wore cummerbunds, and a lot of them wore suspenders. So most of you know I usually wear my camouflage suspenders. I just didn't think it would go with my, my
You're right.
wardrobe. So I wore my dress suspenders today.
Is that what those are?
Yeah. Sorry.
I didn't wear my suspenders today.
Okay. But that's why I wore my hat,
Oh, because you're a star.
my jacket,
Got
my
it.
scarf.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Okay. Anyways, thank you for that.
I know.
Everybody at Foys been sick except me.
Gina's the only
I'm
one
not
that
trying
hasn't
to
had a
do that.
cold here at the company.
Let me tell you why, though. Most people don't believe it, but I don't know if you know, we sell elderberry juice and it's human grade, and that's what I take. Every day I do a shot of it, and I ain't been sick. My granddaughter had the flu and walking pneumonia. People here has had the flu and just that nasty stuff that's going around. I've been good to go.
I don't understand.
What's that?
I drink a shot every day too.
And not a elderberry juice.
Well, that's the difference.
I tried to get him to drink it when he got sick, but he's stubborn. Him and my mama both.
She does it.
She does it now, yeah. After she got
It's
sick.
like closing the door after the horses are out or something like that. Huh?
Yeah. So anyways, I drink elderberry juice and I have not got sick since, and I don't plan on it. So anyways,
Vicky,
Vicky, yes.
if you just got onto the show, I'm the crazy pigeon man your mama warned you about.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ay,
Yes,
ay,
he
ay.
is.
All right, thanks, Vicky.
Okay, so anyways, we're gonna do a contest today on the show. We're gonna ask questions. We have 3 different questions, and the first person to answer wins a gift. No.
3 different gifts.
Yeah, 3.
Can't win twice. We're just
okay.
putting the rules there. If you answer the first question, second question, or third question, you're going to get a gift sent by us at no charge, and that gift is that's a drum roll.
We'll tell you at the end. That's what I was getting to before you started your drum roll.
Okay, now, if they get the answer right, what do? Call the store, or how does that work?
Veronica will, once you post your answer, Veronica will see it and let you know you won, and then you can call me after the show. I'll say about 4:30ish. So the first question we're going to ask now, we're going to do 3 different questions, 3 different times during the show. So pay attention. And this is a live show, so you can't answer the questions once the show is over. So the first question, let me find it. Which of these 4 are not a virus?
Which of these 4
Are
not a virus?
A virus, not PMV, paratyphoid, pigeonpox, and Sarco.
What are those again?
PMV,
Uh-huh.
paratyphoid, pigeonpox, and Sarco. So as soon as you know the answer, post it, and Veronica will let us know who won. Okay.
So we'll hold off for the second question?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second question will be later in the show.
Okay, as you can see, we don't
later.
plan everything in this show. I have to ask
You just
her.
don't listen. So we have a question. Manny, hi Manny, happy Valentine's Day. I was counting
what's
on
the
you to
weather like
tune
in
in.
Alaska, Manny?
It might be warmer than here.
Might be. I was watching the Alaskan, something about Alaska last night. Oh, Men of the Yukon or something like that. They can't use their sled dogs right now because there's not enough snow. Their snow this winter in Alaska has been nothing more than 2 or 3 inches, and they're in big trouble because they need the snow to do their trap lines and things like that. Did I go off on a tangent again?
That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Manny from Alaska. Hi guys, happy Valentine's Day. We love the show. A question about the PMV vaccine. What is the earliest you should inject young birds? I have been doing them at 3 weeks and a booster at 8 weeks of age. Wanted to get your opinion on it. Your answer will be published in the Giant Rump Bulletin.
Can we believe him? He probably got rollers and he's talking about the Giant Rump Bulletin. Getting back at you, Manny. What you're doing is actually exactly what you want to do. Usually right around the weaning time is when you want to vaccinate them. So let's assume they're weaned. That's when you want to vaccinate them. Now, I've also, let's say all my birds are pretty much weaned. There's 2 or 3 in the nest. They're feathered out, but they're not ready yet to eat or drink. I pull them out of the nest and vaccinate them too. So it's not a vaccination that's going to affect them terribly from a strength standpoint. They'll do fine. So what you're doing is right. Would you scroll down that a little bit, Veronica? The other way.
Up.
Here you go. Would you read the question? I'm answering the question, and the people don't know the question.
I did read it.
Where was I?
You must have zoned out. I don't know.
Would you read it again?
What's the earliest you should inject young birds?
Veronica.
Sorry. I have been doing them at 3 weeks and a booster at 8 weeks.
I see absolutely no reason with that at all.
No problem with it?
Nope. Giant Runt Bulletin, if you send me an email, I'll write a short article on some topic for you for the club itself, just for the Runt Club.
Okay. And then I missed the bottom part. Hope you feel better, Jerry. Old school home remedy that works. Warm whiskey, honey, and a clove of garlic. You will be trying out for the Olympics in a day or so. We were just talking about garlic before the show, and I said to him, I wish I could eat garlic, but I ate a clove one day, just a clove. Somebody that I knew, she eats them, or used to on a regular. She's like, try it, Gina, it's good.
What was it? His cure was garlic?
Hold on. So I ate the clove of garlic. Oh, I was sick all day. My stomach hurt so bad all day. It was horrible. Anyways, it was warm whiskey, honey, and a clove of garlic.
What's Vicky got to do with it? I understand the garlic and the whiskey.
Oh, what does what have to do with it?
My wife.
Nobody said
She's my honey.
what. You have me confused.
Sorry about that.
Oy vey.
If you can't have fun, what the heck?
Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so I don't even know.
We haven't got an answer to that question. What was the question again?
Which of these four are not a virus? PMV, paratyphoid, pigeonpox, and Sarco.
And the prizes we're going to be sending out.
We have a winner.
Good. You're going to want to know. I mean, you're going to want to win it because it's something you can use on a regular basis.
Yep, Rick. He's correct. It's paratyphoid is not a virus.
Paratyphoid is a bacterial infection. It is treatable with the correct antibiotics. A lot of people think paratyphoid and PMV are basically both viruses. That's not the correct. So, Rick, you got it right. Thank you very much.
All right. Stay tuned for our next question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So, I think you had an email today about pigeon eggs. The lady asked if they hatched at.
Can I tell the story?
Go ahead.
Because you're always going to interrupt me anyway.
I know. Go ahead.
Lady emailed, and they have two pigeons, male and a female. It's what they call a house pigeon. They have a good sized cage in the house, and they keep the birds, and they finally, after a long engagement, they married and produced offspring in the form of two eggs. And they were so excited because it's the first time. And she was sharing the fun with me, the joy. And I emailed her back and said, I said, I've had pigeons for 70 years. It's hard to believe I've had pigeons pretty much 70 years. And I can still remember when I was 9 years old going into my pigeon loft. I was so glad I had a mother that allowed me to do what I did with pigeons. And to pick up the first egg, it was so fragile. You're afraid to touch it. It was just such an exciting thing. And then later when the eggs hatched. But getting back to the main question, got off the track there, didn't I? I was telling her, she said she really doesn't want to raise any young ones. So I told her there's a couple of things you can do. Wood eggs, if you don't have them, throw those eggs away and put a wooden egg under them. But if you don't want to do that, drop those two eggs, one or two eggs, into some boiling water. Because remember, those eggs don't become fertilized or start to grow. They're not fertile, they're not growing, there's nothing growing inside of them until after they start to incubate them. So when the first egg is laid, don't panic if the egg is cold because they're not sitting. They don't sit on the first egg, so there's nothing growing. So drop those two eggs, the second egg too, drop them in, hard boil them, and cool them down, and put them right back under those pigeons, and they'll set those eggs for a better part of 3 weeks, a little bit more maybe. So you don't have to worry about them hatching. When they leave, they'll be cold. You can throw them away and start the process all over again if you'd like. Or something else you can do. Let's say you don't want to raise a lot, throw one egg away and keep the other egg, and one will hatch. When they lay 2 eggs, as we all know, that I shouldn't say we all know, a lot of people don't know that. I'll go off on another tangent, I won't do that. But the first egg they lay is not fertilized. They don't set it, there's nothing there, it's just an egg. Then the next day they lay nothing. Then the third day they lay the second egg. That's when fertilization starts. Then the female or the male will start laying on the egg, keeping it warm, and a baby is starting to grow. So they're all excited about being parents or grandparents. I didn't ask which one it was, but one or the other. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So they hatch how many days after they're laid?
18 days after the second egg is fertilization. So first egg they lay is not fertile, they don't set on it, it's cold.
2 days
The
later.
next day is an empty day, nothing. Next day is
Another
the
egg.
second egg, and they start to fertilize it, incubate it. So that's when the days start. It's 18 days from the second egg, or if you wanted to think about it this way, 21 days
From the day the
from
first
from the
one's
first egg.
laid.
But the best way to
Okay.
is when you see them setting on them, it's 19 days. And I've told you this before. I don't have one. I keep a Sharpie with me in the loft all the time. And the day the egg is laid, I write the day on it so that I know exactly when those eggs were hatched. So if I need to switch eggs around, I can do it. But if you don't write the date on them, how are you going to know when they were laid? Unless you keep a good breeding record book and write it down that way. I just mark the day.
Okay. Now, since we're talking about this, I have a question because the other day I was looking at some pigeons and I thought they were sitting on eggs.
Mm-hmm.
They were sitting on eggs, and it was going on for like 4 days. And then you came and I told you, and it was like, you looked and they didn't have no eggs, but they were sitting like they were.
Mm-hmm.
So they just do that?
That's young. That's very, very common. And if I remember right, that pair were young birds, and they're still learning. They really don't know yet, and that's why a lot of people will lose eggs. They won't be fertile the first time because the birds don't know what the heck they're doing. In this particular case, they haven't laid yet, have they? Have you checked?
No.
No. Sometimes, and I get questions on this all the time. Why are they not laying eggs? Some birds are that way, just like people. They're all individuals. Excuse me, you never know exactly what they want. It would be boring as heck if everything went according to Hoyle, and you'd never learn anything. In this particular case, I can't give you an answer, but I'll bet you anything if I took the cock bird or the hen bird out of there and put it on the other side of the room and put it in a basket for a couple of days and then reintroduce that bird to its mate, you'd see some eggs in about 7 or 8 days. It's just the little things you have to do. Just like the story about his birds weren't laying, and he put some straw in a nest bowl. He put some straw on the floor. I talked about this at the pre-show, I think. And within a few days, he had eggs.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting. You know, what's interesting is we're not getting a lot of questions.
No, we're not.
Maybe we're bouncing all over the place. But if you've got a question,
Go ahead.
I'll be quiet while you interrupt.
If you have a question, please ask, whether it's on the topic at hand or anything. Anything you want to know, ask and we'll tell you. We just got a question. Mike, sloppy droppings, not watery. What should I use?
Well, what does usually one question lead to?
Another question.
So, they're not watery. What color are they, Mike? Would you just send us another note? And are they green, brown, white and green, all water?
Slimy.
Yeah.
Is it one pigeon? Is it more than one?
Sloppy, I'm assuming he means loose. I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't assume because it makes an ass out of you and me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mike, thank you for the question, and please send questions in. That's what makes our show. Somebody has asked, Mike's asking that question. I bet you there's 100 people out there that probably would have the same question and don't want to take the time.
Right.
What are you laughing at? Did
No,
I say something wrong?
no, I would tell you.
Okay, well, I'm just,
Yeah, a lot of people are afraid to ask questions.
Paul, happy Valentine's Day, Gina. Heart, tears, smiling. Woo! It says, woo.
They can see it.
Oh,
Thank
the
you,
customers
Paul.
can,
Happy
the
Valentine's
people
Day.
can see it. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Brown
Brown
dropping.
droppings.
I should have asked him.
Ask him now.
Okay, just one bird, Mike, or multiple birds? So, and this is what I tell people. It's always a problem when you send me an email at home, and always one question leads to another question. I'm old fashioned, but what I do like is to discuss it with somebody on the telephone, because I can usually get to the bottom of most of them. Gina,
Yes.
read it for me, please.
Okay, Phil, about the second round of eggs using 15 by 15 by 30 nest boxes with a plastic bowl. Some parents seem to nudge the first round out of the bowl to lay the second round. Other hens just lay them on the floor of the box. Those are doomed. And 1.5-inch platform isn't enough to raise the bowl. With limited height inside the box. Any suggestions?
Well, your nest box is bigger than normal. Most of my nest boxes are 12 by 12 by 24. In some cases, 12 by 12 by 32, if I remember right. So your boxes are fine size-wise. When it comes to a plastic nest bowl, is it a plastic nest bowl, Mike, that you got from us? Is the surface of the plastic bowl very smooth, like a plastic dog dish? What nesting material do you use? I'm not sure why you have 1.5-inch platform. Is that it says he has it, and 1.5-inch
With limited height inside the box.
You understand that one?
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure if I understand that. But you don't need anything under a nest bowl from a height standpoint. I just don't know how birds can be rolling eggs out of the nest if you have the proper um, nesting material. So we're all learning, folks. Mike's asked a question, I ask a question. He answers, I ask a
So what's your
question.
question to Mike?
My question is, what do you mean by a
Platform?
kind of surly there, weren't you? Veronica, didn't she cut me off? I was right in the middle of something. What is the question?
Well, you said Mike asked question, I asked question, so I said, what is the question?
Well, my question is, why and what is this platform? And describe the plastic bowl. What size is it? And how high is it? And what breed of pigeon?
The texture inside the bowl.
The question is the height of the bowl and the width of the bowl.
And you asked the texture.
And the texture, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, Mike, questions are interesting. They're kind of baffling in some cases. Trying to keep the first round out of the bowl so that the hen can lay again. I have no idea, Mike, why you would want to take the first egg out of there, because it's going to lay again anyways. If it lays one egg, in 95% of the cases, next day there's nothing. The next day there's the second egg comes. So why you would remove the egg, I'm not sure. I'm going to give you my home phone number. We can keep doing this, and I'm sure we're all learning. But if we need to go more into depth, I'd be more than happy to talk to you at home. My home phone number is 724-359-5355. I normally don't answer calls after 5 o'clock. Sometimes I do, but usually I don't. So, his name's Phil. I kept calling him, oh, there's Mike.
So Mike was the other one with the brown drops.
Okay. Anyways, call me at home if you want, but if you want to continue our conversation this way, that's great. Oh, what breeds is be multiple? I'm assuming that's what he means?
Or multiple ones have that kind of dropping. I don't know.
Don't know, Mike.
Might give Jerry a call also.
Is it time for our second question, or we're gonna wait a little longer?
It's time.
Okay. Well, it's 3:30. I just want you to know, folks, we plan this show, everything is planned, and she goes off course all the time. And I have to rein her in and bring her back so that we can get back to what we really want to talk about.
Yes, I apologize for that. Okay. So our next contest question is, of the 4 following breeds, which one is the smallest? So the Italian owl, the runt, the diamond, and the tippler. Which one is the smallest? Italian owl, runt, diamond, tippler. You got that posted, Veronica? Okay.
Okay, and whoever wins this question, who gets this answer right, will get a prize also, and we'll mail them out to you Monday or Tuesday. It's so big, we're probably gonna have to call a truck, aren't we? Say UPS freight rather than UPS, whatever you call it.
Maybe FedEx.
Oh, we can ask Mark, we'll send it by
FedEx Express.
FedEx Express, yeah. We're good friends with Mark from FedEx Express. He even watches the show occasionally when he gets home.
During work.
I'm sorry?
And ask questions too. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, let's talk about this book while we're waiting for an answer. Rick, he's got a Rick, have the answer? The answer is.
You won once already, Rick. You're not allowed to win again.
But the answer is wrong.
Yeah,
okay.
Wrong.
Yeah, only one winner. I talked a little bit about this book at the beginning of the show. It's a classic. It's not very old. This book was printed in 2003. So it's 17 years ago this book was written. And yet it's already a classic. It's out of print. And I looked online to see what it was worth. This book is worth $125. Great book. It's called Feed to Win 2. And Gina and I were going through it. Just the topics about pigeon health. It talks about feed mixes. It talks about sunflower, canary, vetches, wheat, soybeans, sesame seeds, peanuts, lentils, linseed, on and on, hemp seed. What it does is break each grain down and tell you why it's in the feed and the protein and the benefits to your pigeons. Another section that we found interesting, and Gina mentioned it earlier about the garlic, but it has a section on homegrown vegetables. And it talks about kale, garlic, parsley, beetroot, spinach, onions, and it has a lot of emphasis on the value of onions. And it also tells you if you're going to use spinach, you don't want to use spinach in the wintertime. So the point being, we all have vegetables that we throw out. If you're using lettuce or something, there's always stuff that you don't use. Throw it out on the floor in your pigeon coop. Birds will eat it up. It talks about, in the table of contents, some chapters would be doxycycline, a broad spectrum antibiotic, fighting the adenovirus with elderberry juice. So it talks about how to protect the eyes, echinacea, just so many good topics here. It talks about month to month, what to do, January, February, right through the year. It tells you what you should be doing. Now, I talked about before, the very first chapter in the book is
avoiding disease.
Doesn't it make sense? That's the first chapter, as I said earlier. In talking about the beginning is not how do I medicate. What you all should be doing is your diet, your best to prevent disease. So it talks about how to do it. So a lot of good information. The book, if you went online, it's no longer in print, is worth $125. If you're interested in it, I'll sell it to you for $125. I'm not trying to make a profit on it, but what I'll do is $125 will go to the Legacy Fund Trust, and I'm the donor. So I will make sure, which way does it go? If they donate the birds, yeah, what I'll do is I'll reverse this. I'll give you $125 credit as a member of the Legacy Fund Trust, which will put you on the honor roll. So if you're interested, call Foys, ask for Gina. She's the only one that's gonna know about it, and me. And if you decide, you can pay with a credit card, or you can send us a check, $125. Great book. You'll never find it anywhere else. I already had a man call me and wanted to buy it, and at that point, I wasn't trying to cut back on my old book collection, but I am now. Okay.
Okay. So we have a winner for the second question. Phil, you're correct. It's the diamond.
And I thought that was a tricky question because the diamond is a diamond dove, a little bird like that. But a dove is a pigeon. So the smallest pigeon amongst those four was the diamond doves. Thanks, Phil.
Breed. Phil called me after the show about 4:30. Phil, he has racers, smooth bowls, felt pads with straw, trying to prevent the hen from laying the second round on the floor of the box.
Well, why it's doing that, I don't know. How big is the nest bowl? I asked the diameter of the bowl itself. Maybe you can tell me what size that bowl is. Hi, Paul's got a question.
It's more of a statement. Thank
Well,
you, Paul. I do go to hair and makeup before the show.
You know,
I
don't understand why you get all these questions or comments about you. Look at me.
Debonair, you're debonair.
I'm debonair. I shave every day before the show. I shave. In fact, I shaved this morning. I trim my beard. But I went to the barber because I need a haircut bad.
Nice.
But the barber was too busy, so I couldn't get it today.
Oh.
But I thought maybe, as old as I am with longer hair, it would make me look younger.
You do look very young.
For
Guess
85.
I get it from you, huh?
Almost. Yeah, get it from me. But nobody sends in and tells me how good looking I am.
Maybe Veronica don't post them. Maybe you have to.
No,
talk
that's
to her.
what it is. Veronica. That stuff comes in, it's okay to put it up there. All right. Of course, we never mention this much, but the program is brought to you by Foys Pigeon Supplies, Foys Pet Supplies. We appreciate the feedback. We can't go to any show without people asking where Gina is. And they ask me. They don't say, "Hi, Jerry, I'm so glad to meet you." They say, "Excuse me, sir, which one? Where is Gina?" And I have to point her out, and I kind of feel bad about that. But anyways, we get tremendous response, and from what I can gather, people who aren't even pigeon people are watching the show. A shout out goes to my sister Charlene up in Maine.
Jimmy.
Huh?
Go ahead.
She watches the show and she says it's a real hoot to watch Gina and I. My brother-in-law Kenny, who, when I first met him, when he knew I was into pigeons, thought I was goofy as hell. But he watches the show. So and even locally, I'll stop and be talking to somebody and they'll recognize my voice first and say, "Oh, Jerry, I watch your show." So I think it's coming true that we're having fun, but we are a business, so we appreciate your business and always looking for more business. If you have a question, I know what I wanted to do, Gina.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. People ask.
His mind is always going.
I'm sorry, huh? It
You
is.
see that, Veronica? We got a comment. Hold on.
Okay.
Put it back.
Throw it up there.
Go ahead. You can read.
Woo! Good looking.
Jimmy.
And he calls me Jimmy. I'm sorry. Geez, thanks, Phil, for calling me Jimmy. Maybe you're thinking of what was that guy? Well, it doesn't matter. Way back, Jimmy something. It was a comedian. Anyway, we have been working on the catalog, the next catalog, which is 2020, and if we don't get it done pretty soon, it'll be 2021 and 22. But I just wanted to, and we're not complaining, but what has to be done to create that catalog? We started this catalog in April of 2019. And most of that is just going back and forth and talking about stuff. Then on August 20th, we created our first rendition. This is how the catalog's put together. And then Gina and I go through page by page. See all the little pink stuff? I don't know whether you can see that or not. Those are all things that needed to be corrected or changed in a catalog. Let's see, put number 343 here. This is spelt wrong. Move this around. This is back in August. And then
And he loves the move thing.
I love moving things. And then, and that's October, right?
October.
In October, we started, to show you. This will be on the first inside page of the catalog. It's a picture of Tim and Joni, Joni. I was right the first time. But this is how we do it, page after page. We do every one of these pages, and you can hardly pick up a page where we haven't changed something, changed the spelling. We go through it page by page by page and try to find mistakes. We're always finding things that need to be corrected. So this was October. And then I'm making it sound like it's Gina and I. As soon as Gina and I are done with it, it goes to Veronica. And Veronica updates every page, and then she sends it to us. We start going through it again. And then this is November. And page by page by page, just goes on and on and on of changes that we have to do. It goes to Veronica. She brings it up to date. So now that's into October. And then I hope I'm not overdoing it, but it just shows people it's not so easy. This one was done in January. This one we went through it in January again. Then we went through it again in January 29th, getting thicker, and all the different changes.
And the reason that is because in the beginning when we started, then it came into show season. So I didn't have the time to do it. He was on me and on me and on me. Finally, now I got
Finding
the time.
We meet every Wednesday for pretty much a day. In some cases, we've met on Saturday trying to do the show. Gina and I put it together. So this is February, and this February 8th, which was last week. All kinds of changes to it, but we're getting close. One of the things I mentioned in the catalog is keep your old one. When you get the new one, which we hope to have ready in March, we will have ready in March, because all of the tips are in that book or catalog are tips that won't be in the next catalog. 99% of them are coming out. They're still good tips. I'm going to try to put all new tips in the next catalog. So it's a resource. Don't throw the catalog away, or maybe you might want to get a scrapbook or something, cut our catalog up, get all the tips and put them into a scrapbook or something and create your own tip book.
Good idea.
So I wanted to share that with you because it's a long, grueling process. It's a lot of work. Our catalog is not a catalog. It's a resource. You look at the other companies, I'm not belittling them, but I was working on a product this morning, a fairly new product, and I had a question about it, and I can't remember why. I went to my competition's catalog, both of them, good people. All they tell you is the name of the product and what it's for. And in almost all cases, they don't even tell you the dosage. I get help from Gina, Kim. Veronica thinks about it, but she doesn't give me help. I write too much information. But how can you have too much information?
As y'all can tell, he likes to
Yeah,
talk a lot.
yeah, I do like to talk a lot, so I write the way I talk. We try to put in as much information, and a lot of that information is based on the questions you folks ask me. A lot of that goes right into the catalog. Sam is contacting us.
Sam, I said hello to you at the Fremont Pigeon Show. I enjoy seeing both of you. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Nice of him to. I got an order for pigeons from Sam Vasquez
Oh,
yesterday.
that was
That's
Sam
his
Baltimore.
fourth time
Wow.
he's ordered from me, so
Awesome.
he must like them. Okay.
Okay, back to Phil. Bulls are about 11 inches at the base, 7 1/4 inch inside at the top, 3 1/2 inches tall floor to top edge. Looking for a way to keep the first round babies from hogging the bull and making the hen lay the second round on the floor of the box. Adding the 1 1/2 inch lumber under the bull doesn't keep them out. I'm just trying to save that second round, get them in the bowl. Second round.
This is drastic. Phil, right?
Phil.
Throw the bowls away. Wrong bowls. Too big. Slippery surface, even though you've got a pad in there. I would, and I have racing hose, and I can use anything I want to use. I use 2 different types of bowl, and that's all I will ever consider. I'd never use a black or a smooth plastic bowl. And I know we sell them, but everybody has a choice and they're a good seller. But what are we doing with them, Gina, in the catalog?
With what?
The black plastic?
The heavy duty?
No, the dog dish. Oh, you forget. We're discontinuing.
You said the black. The black is the
Oh,
heavy
it's
duty.
tough. I make mistakes occasionally. But anyway, I really think your issue and your problem is go to a clay bowl, which is smaller, will give you more room, or go to the Belgian bowl, which is pebbled underneath, so they get a good surface. Nothing wrong with the nest pads, but push the nest pads down and screw through them. There's a hole in the bottom of your nest bowl and hold them in place. They can't move at all. And then the straw on top of it. So you've got a huge nest box, 15 by 15 by 30. If you don't want to throw all your plastic nest bowls away, call and order 1 or 6 from us, whatever it happens to be, and switch them. I think you'll see a difference. Those eggs should, geez, I've been using them for years. I can't remember the last time I had an egg come out of a nest bowl. And I have hundreds of pigeons. So it has to be, you've got, using a nest bowl that I would suggest you not use.
And by the way, the Belgium and clay nest bowls are both out of stock.
We have a container on the way.
Yes, I did order a natural container, and for anybody waiting on versilogaphy, the container is ordered. So probably be a good 4 to 6 weeks before either of those come in.
The show
Hopefully
season
sooner.
Cleans us out, so to speak. I mean, just amazing how much stuff we sell, but we don't know what we're going to sell, so we can't order a container this time of the year until after show season. We know what we need desperately, and we send in. We order full containers that's 40-foot long. In some cases, a smaller one, but most of them 4. Some of them what's called high boy. We order full containers from Belgium. We order full containers from Natural. We order full containers from Versilaga
Polmark.
and Polmark, which is Poland. And we all, China is the high boy, and we also order smaller ones. So we do our best, and we're not complaining because you guys are just great. We appreciate your business. But having everything, because we stock so much stuff, is difficult. We just do our best.
Most people are amazed when they come here and see our warehouse, how much stuff we actually have.
And we've got a warehouse here, I don't know, 10,000 square feet or something like that. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
We're already looking at ways of expanding space for our inventory, because we're always looking for new products. We have a new product. I would go get it, but I won't do it. But new products, we're always looking for ideas. And we were at the show in Lancaster,
Yeah.
It might have been. But anyway, the gentleman, I was looking at the cage, and the gentleman had this thing that fit inside the cage, but this high up off the floor of the cage, in the show cage. The birds are sitting up there. What a great idea. So I went and said, do you mind if I steal your idea and sell them? He says, no. He says, here, you can have this one. So we sent it to John. We got it in today, yesterday.
A couple days ago.
We got it in a couple of days ago. I'm going to go over it with Tina, and we'll maybe have some suggestions, and then we'll have that available in the next catalog.
Mhm.
So if you got an idea, you think it's a great idea, just contact Gina, and we'll give it some consideration.
Do you know anybody else's name?
I'm sorry?
Do you know anybody else's name that works here?
Veronica.
Anyways, before we get to the questions and comments, we're going to ask the last question for the contest. Okay. Which of the following diseases do not respond to antibiotics? Paratyphoid, ornithosis, coccidiosis, or worms? Which of the following diseases do not respond to antibiotics?
Okay.
Paratyphoid, ornithosis, coccidiosis, and worms.
And then after we get the answer, we'll tell them what their prize is.
Yes.
They're going to be jumping up and down, and
Jumping
their
for
wife's
joy.
probably going to, husband's going to say, what the heck's the matter with you? I won.
Rick says, I appreciate your dosages in the catalog because I've recently ordered Red Cell and the label didn't have the dosage.
Thanks, Rick. I get calls, and sometimes they're trying to beat around the bush because they don't want me to know about what the proper dosage on this particular product. And I know in most cases, they probably got it from somebody else and there's no dosage on it. So they're calling me to let me know how to use it. So thanks for the kind comments, Rick. And I know, pretty sure Rick has bought pigeons from us before.
I don't know.
I think. Okay.
I was just gonna say on a lot of the stuff, it's not actually pigeon product, so that's why the dosage isn't on the container for pigeons. That's why we try to put everything online and in the catalog, so you know what the actual dosage is. Right?
Yep. Keith has got a question too.
Right?
Well, that question is sneaky, and we'll give an answer if it's not answered soon. But don't do what I do sometimes. I'm watching a game, watching a hockey game, and there's 30 seconds left, and the other team scores and goes ahead, and I say, son of a, you know what I say, and shut the TV off, and go upstairs and go to bed, and I'm listening to the radio, and the Penguins scored, and it's tied in their overtime, and I shut the television off. So my point being, we know the show is supposed to stop in how many more minutes?
6.
Well, we don't let the clock stop us.
That's right.
You know, we don't get controlled by a clock. We talk until we feel like stopping.
It's
And if you
not
keep
Friday and I
asking
wanna go
questions,
home.
we'll keep on.
Right?
What?
It's not Friday and I want to go home.
That's right.
Anyways, Keith, how are you? Yes, we have amoxicillin in. So if you want to order it, give us a call. Ask for Kim or Sherry.
What's
Since I'm in the show.
one up top say? Oh, answers.
Yeah, the answers.
Are those correct?
Keep answering.
Their answer is correct.
Partially.
No, there's only two answers, isn't there? What's the question?
2 different people answered it.
Oh. Well,
We'll get-
I'm sorry, you tell them, and now we'll come up
We'll
with
get
a
back to
a
that. We're going
tiebreaker.
to talk to Manny for a minute.
Okay.
Not sure if you carry an all-in-one grit from Versalaga. That is candy to pigeons. My birds go crazy for it. We do carry it, Manny. It's a huge seller. It's one you started using in your loft, and his birds love it too. Yeah, it is. They love it. So if you guys haven't tried it, you might want to try it. It does come in a 22-pound bucket.
Isn't that all in one?
All-in-one mineral mix. Yeah, it's awesome. Stephen St. Clair, are you carrying the new shipping size boxes? Yes, we do.
Hey, Steve. Nice talking to you. Steve runs the Iowa show, which we hadn't gone for a number of
Couple
years,
years.
2 or 3 years. We hadn't gone. Steve contacted us, invited us back. We gave it some serious thought. And because of Steve, we decided to go back. And I'm pretty sure if we get invited again, we're going to go back again next year.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Steve, thanks for watching the show. We
It's a
appreciate it.
great show. But by the way, yes, Steve, we do have the new shipping boxes. Can't recall the sizes off the top of my head, but they are the new sizes for the post office since they measure the boxes now, and that is on our website.
And I'm using them. Give you a little bit of a hint. I talked to a fellow down in Florida who still had some of the 16 and the 8 bird, the old boxes. The change is that they now at the post office they measure every box. And you know how on the 16 bird box there's a handle and it sticks up about this far, goes up and there's the handle. Well, what you do is you fold everything in so that they don't see the handle, and you gain that much. The smaller the box, the less expensive it is. So you're paying for that handle on the old design. It's still available. So just fold them handles in. You'll see it's very, very easy. The label's still in the same spot. You'll save yourself buku.
Now,
Yourself.
we had a customer a couple weeks ago, and we ended up talking about the shipping boxes, and I asked him if he wanted their old or new box, and he asked me why was there new ones, and I explained to him about the new rules on they measure the box. He's like, my post office don't measure them. I said, well, you're one of the lucky ones then that haven't realized they're supposed to measure them now. So anyways, so the winner, that was kind of a tricky question, that last question. There was 2 answers. So Amy, you are correct. It's worms and coccidiosis.
What was the question?
Which of the following diseases do not respond to antibiotics? So it's coccidiosis and worms.
Mm-hmm. Worms and coccidiosis are what's called protozoa, as is canker, and they're literally bugs that live in the intestines and do not respond to antibiotics. And that's my story. I already said that one. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
That we wanted to talk about.
If you get another question, please contact us. We've only got a few more minutes, but if you send a question, you'll keep us going. Remember the book, $125. Excellent book, great investment. So many really, really informative chapters. Oh, I know. We'll talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
Books.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we said we should talk more about books? Not books specifically. If you've watched these shows over the last 3 years, you know I'm the word I suppose is voracious reader. When I go to the library, in fact they're in my truck right now, I usually get 5 books. And I go through 5 hardcover books within 10 days. I can read a book a day sometimes. Love to read. I guess what I'm trying to tie it in with is that I get so many questions from people who really don't know much about pigeons. And you can't run it off by calling me and asking me questions. Invest, and the word is invest. Invest in some books and read those books. Well, there's so many good pigeon books that we offer. And if you would spend a little money, you'll learn so much. You can spend as little as $3, $4 for one of our $3 books for pleasure and profit. You can spend $160 for a good book, which is a great book, or anywhere in between. So the best right now, the best free book that you can possibly get is Foys catalog. Absolutely, there's so much information, and when people call and ask me questions, I'm not complaining. I'm trying to suggest that you spend a little time reading just out through our catalog. Read every tip in there, and read the directions and what the medicines are for, and so many of your questions will be answered. So I urge you to spend a little money, just like going to college, going to the school of hard knocks. I never went to college, but I love to read, and don't think you learn it all from
Valuable.
one book. I just read and read and read. And a lot of times when I go away, I take some pigeon books with me to read them again. Keith has a question, and the answer is no.
No.
It's Feed to Win #1 is even more rare. I've had people call and ask me for it. I don't have it. What you might want to do, Keith, there's a fellow I think he's in Purebred magazine. His name is Art Clark, Clarke. You call Art, he may have it. There's another gentleman that has a rather large collection of books, and his name is Eric Cooker, Kooker. And Eric is responsible for the Lancaster show. If you need his phone number, call Sherry. I did it, didn't I? She's told me not to use her name all the time. So call Sherry or Kim and ask them for Eric Cooker's phone number or email. Either one of those gentlemen may have that book. Art Clark, Eric Cooker. Wish I had volume 1. I do not.
The new catalog is not available yet. We just got a phone call for it. New catalog is not available. Possibly, no, it will be ready sometime in March.
We don't want any